What's up guys, welcome back. The new Danger archetype. It's a TCG exclusive archetype, it's already on YgoPro, so let's try it out. I have super high hopes for this archetype. I mean, this is only the first wave of support and it's definitely very solid. It has a lot of potential, even though that it's still only the first wave. It's like a big difference compared to Vendrats, for example, and very similar to Cosmos. Then again, you know, at least this archetype does different things. It's very similar to Dark Worlds, although the biggest difference is that these danger monsters have like built-in discard effects. So on that part, at least, yeah, indeed, on that part, the archetype is already better compared to regular Dark Worlds, right? The Bigfoot is very similar to Grapha and like destroys any face-up card from your opponent when discarded. It also triggers off of trade-in, again quite important, while Grapha won't trigger. Your Nessie is the level 7, at least that potentially opens up for like rank 7 Exceed plays Tomahawk. I'm looking at Tomahawk here, but it's quite, well, you have the option, right? And playing that in your extra deck, Big Eye is also an option, but Nessie is also a key card, like discard something and potentially get a search. It's pretty much the Sangan of the deck, so again, very similar to your Snow, your Dark World Snow. You have also like a level 4, also very important is, again, as I mentioned before, like these danger monsters all have the effect that you can reveal themselves, and then depending, at least, yeah, your opponent has to pick one card at random from your hand and then reveal it and eventually discard it. Well, if it's like the revealed danger monster, that particular danger monster will be discarded, and you know, you will get the discard effect. Otherwise, that particular danger monster you just revealed will special summon itself and eventually will get you an extra draw, and then the other card that was targeted by your opponent will be discarded. So again, the Dark Worlds will definitely trigger off of that. So I think this is definitely good. I mean, the Dark Worlds compared to this new Danger archetype, you can definitely mix them, and other options are definitely possible, as you saw in the somewhat side deck. I mean, Heroes, Malicious, Armageddonite. Then again, I thought about main decking Lilith, since a card that I haven't mentioned yet is Danger Zone. Danger Zone is like the Graceful Charity in the form of a trap card, very similar to Sylvan Charity as well. I mean, draw 3, and then here in this case, discard 2. Again, potentially triggering your Dark Worlds and your danger monsters, of course, but the small restriction is that one of those 2 cards that you're going to discard, at least one of those needs to be a danger card. So that's fine, I guess. That's an okay restriction, but again, both archetypes, and we know how OP Graceful Charity was back in the day in case of Dark Worlds, but now imagine 3, well, it's yeah, Danger Zone. Okay, it's a trap card, but still, drawing 3, discard 2, and then, you know, during your opponent's turn, triggering like your Bigfoot, your Grapha, your Snow, etc. to get those searches, your draws, or pops during your opponent's turn is fantastic, right? And that's Lilith. Lilith can come in handy, you know, from the Lair of the Lair of Darkness structure deck, but the space is tight, and again, the normal summon, I think there's only one normal summon here in the deck, well, regular normal summon like the Tour Guides. Okay, you can normal summon Snow, Badger, Bro, but you know what I mean, right? Your normal summon of Tour Guides, but Lilith is something that I'm definitely contemplating. Same for Armageddonite, Malicious are options that I'm definitely thinking about. No Fiber, but it speaks for itself that Fiber can definitely have the potential to be in the extra deck, but let's keep it TCG, if I'm not mistaken, right? With all of the cards here in the extra deck as well. The Griffin eventually, well, due to Griffin, he wasn't able to use the ABC Dragon Buster. Again, no co-link or, you know, linked to a zone where a link monster is pointing to. So that's terrible for him, but again, to each their own. So dragged down into the grave. Yeah, there's only one Dark World Duelings in the main deck. I'm not a huge fan of Dark World Duelings, not because of the mirror match, well, because of the mirror match, but you know, when this deck is released, it's not going to be the super top tier deck, so worrying about your mirror matches is not yet important, but the fact that, you know, it also gives your opponent the extra draw, and that's something I don't really like. The one search copy, the one copy in your deck to potentially search off of something like Snow is something that I like, but again, I don't think you need to main deck more than one, right? Since again, the new danger monsters all have that built-in discard effect, somewhat of a Dark World dealings effect for your own as a player. So that's definitely very, very nice. Again, using the Graceful Charity, draw 3 and then discard 2. One of them needs to be a danger monster. Go for the Witchling, and that's something I like, right? Okay, this board is not really that threatening, and due to Twin Terrestrial was able to, you know, eventually force out the Graceful Charity otherwise, and that's something I like, is using the Graceful Charity during your opponent's turn and then like discard Grapha or discard your Bigfoot and then, you know, yeah, like potential pop your opponent's monsters. But again, that's something I definitely want to change, is add in maybe more. Well, you can't really add in hand traps, right, due to the discard effects and your opponent picking at random, right? So it's quite strange, right? It's very similar to pure true Dracos with Card of the Mice hardly playing any hand traps. It's pretty much for the same reason. Anyway, the level 3 one, like I believe it's a rabbit, I think it's fine at 1, like, again, it also has like the effect of revealing itself. If it's picked, just discard it and I believe special summon something from the deck, so again, potentially opening up like rank 7 Exceed place or rank 8 Exceed place, or when it's not picked, you know, it will discard itself or special summon itself eventually if it's not picked, right? And then, you know, like all the others, it gets you an extra draw. So again, that built-in Dark World dealings effect is super solid. Well, anyway, I'm not really sure if I was able to play around the Beatrice Unicorn, might have been an option, but still. Yeah, eventually I'm going indeed for the Unicorn, but my other options weren't. At least, yeah, he still has the option to go for Borreload Dragon, and I can't really negate anything. You know, nothing to interrupt. Well, there is Danger Zone, but I have to be very lucky to, first of all, draw into like a danger card, and maybe one of those danger card or cards being like a Bigfoot to potentially pop like a face-up card from my opponent would have been okay. But here in this case, nope. I'm not going to risk that. I still have a couple of chances, right? Top decking the Reborn is quite good, getting back a Dark World monster. I opt to get an extra draw instead of Beige, you know, Beige, special summon itself, etc, etc. But sadly, not. I mean, if one of those extra draws was like a danger card, I would have been in a very good position, well, depending on the cards I drew, right? But I think I had a lot of options ready. I had my own Borreload Dragon ready, and I think the Fog Blade was already forced out, or I don't think so, but I think I was eventually able to, you know, force it out with maybe Nightmare Phoenix or something like that, and eventually go for Borreload Dragon. But nope, that wasn't the case, and the Snow is not going to cut it since he does have a double hand trap, Ghost Ogre and Edge Blossom to negate stuff, and I, don't have any more extra deck options. Like, yeah, I can't play around the, what is it called, the Break Sword, so he's eventually going for that rank 4 Exceed, I forgot its name, Rebellion, indeed Dark Rebellion, so he's eventually able to attack for a game. So a bit unfortunate, but definitely a good duel going back and forth. Last duel, again going second. I feel going second is a depends, right? Depends on the build, main making Mind Crushes, etc. But going second gives you the opportunity of using cards like Bigfoot at full extent, popping your opponent's face-up stuff. But again, going first, dragged down into the grave, you know, those same for Mind Crush are cards that definitely do well if you're going first, right? So the Omega is going to banish Nessie. That's terrible. I mean, Nessie is such an important, crucial card. But again, I'm able to somewhat sack myself out of this using the Impermanence, shut down the Vortex, and eventually get some extra luck, luck indeed, and Carafa, etc, etc. So getting those extra pluses and extra special summons thanks to the Chewbacca, well, whatever. I'm not going to butcher that name, but the most important thing is going for full armor Photon Dragon, get rid of the scales, since I think we, indeed we know one card in the opponent's hand being, I think so, right? Well, anyway, I'm definitely going to Mind Crush here, the Chronograph Sorcerer, but he needs to get lucky, since we know the last card in his hand is like the Mythical Beast, and here we see he's not lucky, right? I have the option to go for Danger Zone, but he still can chain the Omega and potentially banish that one card at Danger in my hand, and then, you know, it's same for Allure, right? No targets left, and then either banish all your cards, well, here in this case, send everything back to the deck. So just chain the Danger Zone, the Crystal Charity, to Omega, and then it's all good. A lot of options, getting multiple Gravas on the field again. All of those options, going for Cypher first. Should have done that earlier, but or sooner, and then eventually I can attack for the game. So again, as I mentioned before, I have I have a lot of high hopes for this archetype, even though this is only the first wave of support. It speaks for itself, right? And I think it can just, at least the thing, it can definitely go better, but there is so much potential, right? So like always, feel free to leave suggestions. Okay, guys, that's it. Thanks for watching, and feel free to leave a comment or a like if you enjoyed the video. Lithium signing out. Peace.